Hello, everyone, and welcome back to That Fallout Show right here on We Just Love Games Network. The three of us are back. It's the hiatus from the hiatus. You're listening to episode 66. I am your co-host, Vendertron. Joining me this evening, as always, is Shalene. Hello, Shalene. How are you?
Hi.
And also joining us, back by popular demand, the prodigal son returns, Rick McVick.
Popular demand. I just realized in the intro there that you had your little Vendertron bot had the Vault Boy thumbs up arm.
Yeah.
Isn't that hilarious?
It's so good.
I died when I saw that. It was so
It just
good.
comes out
just
like that.
pasted on.
I was like, oh, there's Vender.
Yes, I hope that you guys like our new intros and our new assets for the show. We thought we'd give it a little scrub and refresh for this limited series that we are covering TFS on the episodes of that other Fallout show.
The other one.
I think it's important that we stake the claim that we are the original Fallout show.
Yes. Exactly.
Let's just clear the dust on that one at the gate.
Yeah.
And
we're
just
that
put that one to
Fallout
bed.
show.
Yeah, that one.
The show on Prime is that other Fallout show.
Yes. Anyways, how are you guys doing? How was your week? Oh my god, the three of us are on a podcast. Can you believe it?
It's been too long.
What the heck?
The thing that's really funny is, like, I know there are people who did not follow us to GameStack. And so for us, we're like, hey guys, we were doing a podcast last week. How's it going? But I know there are people out there who are like, oh my God, it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
Wait, it hasn't been 3 years since
It was 2021 the last time we posted an episode.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was that long ago.
I mean, I'm so behind on posting game stacks that it was probably 2022 the last time I posted a game stack. So, to be fair, but
my goodness.
Well, I'm super excited. Rick, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't even remember what I was going to say now. Oh, just the week. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. I was actually kind of nervous that I was going to get hung up at work again. But we got out at a half decent time today. Fridays are always the worst.
I'm super glad that you're here. I'm really excited to start this limited series with you guys. TFS is back. Only for a short time, and then we'll go on another brief hiatus, which you can expect because we're only going to do 8 episodes to cover the 8 episodes that are in season 1 of that other Fallout show, and then we'll be back for season 2. And hopefully, I don't know, Shalene, if you've included
most
a story
likely, what if it's terrible or something?
I don't think it's going to be terrible.
It's not going to
Well,
be
it could
bad.
be. It could be.
It's been 84 years, Alex in the chat says.
By
Ironically,
the way,
she was here last week on Games.
Let's give Alex some credit for the title. It's a hiatus from the hiatus.
Yes.
That was her comment in chat when we announced the return of the show.
Nice.
Don't forget, share us on social media. Send us some emails, like, subscribe, and retweet us. Tell your friends about the show. Join us in the Discord, the chat after dark. Shalene will tell you exactly where to go to that in a moment. But the show is sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you head on over to oakandcrow.com, you can pick up a bag of We Just Love Coffee blend, and $2 from every purchase of that blend goes to the Children's Miracle Network. So be sure to get your coffee if you have not done so. And we have a jam-packed show this evening. We are going to take you through some Fallout-related news, and then we're going to dive right into the Fallout TV series on Amazon Prime. We're going to talk about our first impressions of the episode, what our expectations are for the series, the characters, the world, everything. Just dive right in. We're going to talk about Easter eggs and references to other Fallout areas of the Fallout universe. We're going to share some of our own Fallout gameplay since some of us have hopped back into Fallout.
Some? I think everybody hopped into it.
And then we also have included, Shalene put a lot of work into these 2 segments, and I'm so glad that we have them on the show, a lore segment and a weapon of the week. So I'm very excited about that.
Like, it was a pain and time consuming, but also it felt really good to do those again.
Yeah.
Oh, putting together show notes for GameStack is such a different thing. Like it's so easy to do a game stack.
Mhm.
And like doing TFS notes is so much more difficult, but I was having the time of my life.
I was having so much fun yesterday watching the first episode all over again, and like I would watch 35 seconds and then I would pause it and I'd be like then I'd watch 2 minutes and I'd pause it and I'd be like so I have lots to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Vendor, I know that you and I have finished the series. Charlene, have you finished the series?
I have not finished the series. I have watched the first 4 episodes. So
Okay. So you've got some work to do,
yes,
but you're halfway
but
through. You're halfway through.
I am halfway through, and we're only talking about episode 1. So
I know.
technically, I'm ahead. So
Well, okay. So have we decided whether or not we're gonna?
we're spoiling 1 episode at a time.
Okay. Oh, that's gonna be hard for me to remember what happened.
I mean, I think that there's going to be moments where we're going to think like, oh, you know what? This actually does happen later, but we'll touch on that in
Yeah.
another episode, right? But
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
like, if you haven't finished the entire series, there are some risks of some minor spoilers of later episodes, but we are planning to focus on 1 episode at a time.
yeah, I think it's safe to say that like we're not holding things back with regards
Mhm.
to the episodes. So if you haven't seen episode 1, I mean,
Problems.
What are you
maybe
doing here?
just go watch it and then come back. Yeah. So, but Shalene, why don't you tell the listeners, what that Fallout show is all about?
Well, let's go ahead and do like an all new intro to that Fallout show.
Mhm, mhm.
Because while I know that many of you are longtime listeners to the prior incarnation of that Fallout show, and to maybe even Fallout shows that existed before that one. But every show is somebody's first show. So welcome if you're new here. I know that
All right.
Fallout on Prime has definitely brought I'm sorry, I'm laughing at chat.
Yeah.
Fallout on Prime has definitely brought new people into the Fallout family. People are discovering the games for the first time because they liked the show, and we think that's a beautiful thing. Welcome, new people.
I have a bumper for that. I have a bumper.
Congratulations on being prepared for the future.
Well done, everyone. Yes.
I feel bad for the saps that are like, I'm going to start with Fallout 1 just to really get the whole series. And then
Ooh, don't do it.
died
Don't
by
do
a
it,
rat.
friends.
Died by a rat. Died by a rat.
Okay, here's a question. For anybody coming and hearing this and trying to decide on which game to start with, what are your recommendations?
I think you should start with 4 if you're a modern gamer. I think you should start with 4, and then just do what your heart leads you to do after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 would be a solid choice. I would say close followed by New Vegas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
3 does
Yeah.
not hold up, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, it does. I disagree with you.
You do?
Hard disagree, but I'm not sure it would hold up if I didn't have nostalgia goggles.
That's true.
True. Now, I have nostalgia goggles. However, I installed Fallout 3 and all of the plants are pastel colors. And they're pastel in that like color palette, so they're just like really matte. Do you know when you were watching like old Hanna-Barbera cartoons and like you could tell what was going to move? It's that, except
that
it's
is
just
amazing.
all the bushes, and it just is so jarring to play.
I love it.
I tried, but I was like, I can't do this.
All right. So
I don't know what's wrong with it.
So the
But back
answer
to-
the answer is Fallout 4 for our listeners.
Back on track a little bit. We've already gone off the rails.
See,
So
focus.
just bringing us back on the track a little bit. My name is Shalene, and I love Fallout. And Fallout is what brought us together. We've been friends for like 10 years now.
I don't want to think
We're
about
so
it.
old.
I don't want to
We're
think
so
about it.
old. These dudes are my besties, and we met each other because we all liked Fallout. And we've been podcasting about Fallout for a long time. And yeah, my first Fallout was Fallout 3. I played it. I got it via GameFly for my Xbox 360 way back in the day. Remember GameFly?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That
Put
was
the
when
disc in the mail.
Netflix was mailed to your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it through GameFly, and I played for like 16 solid hours. Like I didn't. eat food or take showers or anything.
Did you sign up to GameFly from one of those tear out cards from the magazines?
I actually think I might have,
Yeah.
now that you mention it. And like I got so sucked in that it kind of scared me, and I sent it back. But I couldn't stop thinking about this game. So eventually I bought a copy, and like the rest is history. My life changed forever.
Mm-hmm.
And started podcasting because I needed to talk about Fallout. I needed to, and I didn't have anyone to fill that need in my normal life. So I met these dudes, and it was all downhill from there. Really.
Downhill.
Definitely downhill.
Definitely downhill.
Yeah.
Well,
By which I mean the car went faster.
Yeah,
and used less
sure,
gas.
right. So
yeah. Rick, why don't you go next?
Just okay. So yeah, pretty much the same story as Shalene. I'm Rick, by the way. But yeah, Fallout 3 was also my first one. I remember working at Target at the time, and I was talking to people about this new survival horror first person game. I had no idea that it was based on any sort of franchise because it was like 3, but then I didn't know what came before it. And starting off, and you're just like kind of squirted out into existence in a way because it's just blood on the screen because you were a baby.
Right.
Phrasing.
You're literally
Phrasing.
born the first. What game starts like that?
Yeah.
Not many. And so yeah, it just took me right away, and I don't remember what about it. I think at the time, and still kind of, well, no, when I was a kid, I grew up in Northern Maryland, and so it being so close by proximity, was just kind of interesting for me. It's like, oh, this is like a wasteland in my backyard. So, that was part of the hook. And then, of course, the 1950s aesthetic. And I think we've talked about this before. I don't think I had a 1950s attraction until that game. That like Art
Really?
Deco attraction.
Because it's such a part of who you are now.
It really is.
Wow.
I mean, that Fallout series defined a lot of my aesthetic attraction, I guess you could say. And I didn't even realize it was a natural occurrence. It wasn't like, oh, this is cool, I'm going to do this. It's just it was
a progression over time.
Yeah. And so yeah, Fallout 3 was just my first experience. I think I did try the ISOs. And I checked out, but yeah. But also the same thing. I'd kind of listened to a little bit of a different show, and then that's when they're like, "Hey, we need some hosts for our Fallout one," and I was like, "By golly, I'll try it. I can be 3-Dog, right?" Anyway,
isn't it wild that that's how we met?
Yeah.
We both heard the ad, and we're like, I do that. I'm qualified for that.
That's crazy.
I just remember, I think you might have been the first person we had talked to. And
yeah, because you were chosen first. You were the first host that was chosen for the show that shall not be named.
Right. And then you were second, like the second after we talked to you, were like, she's the one. But then do you remember trying to find a third at that point?
Yes. We spent weeks interviewing people, and some of them were great people, but it just,
they weren't me.
It didn't click.
They were not.
They weren't me, ladies and gentlemen.
Weren't you. They weren't
I guess that's
you.
that's my segue. I'm Vendertron, aka Vender. Yeah, I stalked these two while they were doing that show that shall not be named. I would send them notes and mail, physical mail with gifts, showering them, buttering them up while I made my move. Yeah.
What happened to the gifts, man? I miss the gifts.
I don't know. Don't you have perfectly preserred pie? Like
we
that
do
thing
have
never gets old.
Pies.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
It is perfectly preserved.
Yeah.
That's true. You were the unofficial host.
Yeah, so then
for a while.
And then I
the first one, yeah.
Shalene and I morphed into Katie Radio, and then Rick, you came back for a time. We started up a new network, We Just Love Games, which is still going strong, and GameStack approaching episode 200.
Congrats.
Can you believe that?
Can you believe that? It's amazing, yeah.
Congrats.
So I think my first Fallout game was Fallout 3. I remember seeing one of my best friends in high school was playing it. I was over at her house and she was playing it, and I was like, what is this game? Like, what is this music? It's like Perry Como just playing in the background. She's trudging through some marsh, killing super mutants. Like, it was amazing. I was just totally enthralled by this universe, and I could not wait to get a PS3 so that I could play Fallout 3 on the PS3. So
Hmm.
I bought a PS3 to play Fallout 3. Then I played Fallout New Vegas while I waited for Fallout 4. And then I bought a PS4 to play Fallout 4. So my entire existence of PlayStations, third and fourth generation, are all because of Fallout.
Mhm.
That's where we are.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So, anyways, so thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for showing up live on a Friday evening. If you missed the show live, that's okay. You know, we post it to various podcast platforms. We are a podcast after all. Some people like to see our beautiful faces. Other people just prefer to hear our voices.
And can
And
you blame them?
and you can check that out on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, any other podcast platform where you get all of that information to you, and Shalene will post that out for us. But I suppose that we should hop into some news. Hey, let's get rolling with news.
If you like news, you're gonna love our next segment.
Take it away, Shalene.
That bumper, you guys, the nostalgia, the bumper.
I'm gonna have to make that a little bit. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of, Van Sylvan in the chat says, "Hey Rick, any crazy rare vinyl lately?"
Actually,
Well,
yes.
you know what he didn't get, Van Sylvan, is the Fallout show vinyl soundtrack. He didn't get one of those. But they did release a vinyl set for the Fallout soundtrack, and it was pretty gorgeous. It has
missed it.
Yes, it's two vinyls. It was four sides, and it was really pretty. But it's gone now, so R.I.P. And this was the original music from composer Raymond Djawadi.
Yeah.
Sounds
Who
right.
has also worked on shows like Game of Thrones and Westworld.
Yep.
So, yeah.
The soundtrack
I think
is
it's
so
really
good.
cool that they released that. It is a very good soundtrack, both the licensed music and the not licensed music. I never know what to call that part of the soundtrack. That's just the original soundtrack, I guess.
Score.
The score? Yes.
Yeah.
Both the licensed music and the score, I think, are stellar.
Oops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much, Van Sylvan, for that really smooth segue.
That was a good one. We still can't do smooth segues.
We're so bad at them. Yeah. Speaking of really awkward and choppy segues, the Fallout TV series has officially been renewed for season 2 on Prime Video.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
Right?
It's almost like continue.
This is an IGN article by Taylor Lyles. And only a week after season 1 premiered, Prime Video announced that they have renewed the show for a second season. Jonah, Lisa, Geneva, and Graham have captivated the world with this groundbreaking wild ride of a show. The bar was high for lovers of this iconic video game, and so far we seem to have exceeded their expectations while bringing millions of new fans to the franchise, said Amazon MGM Studios head Jennifer Salke. And frankly, I'm shocked that it was good. I was hopeful. I was hopeful. But I was also a little shocked that it was actually good and that it was well received as well. I wasn't sure how it was going to hit with people outside the fandom.
Yeah.
But it seems like people are eating it up.
Well, and the interesting thing is Bethesda actually rejected multiple pitches for a Fallout TV show prior to Jonathan Nolan selling Todd Howard on his vision of what a Fallout show could really be. So thank you, Jonathan Nolan, for bringing your brilliance to the screen once again.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if isn't Mr. Nolan, isn't he a fan, like a self-proclaimed fan of the Fallout game series, like he's played? I feel like I've read that somewhere where he was a fan of it, so he knew how to work in that world. I mean, it makes sense if I
I
would.
don't remember seeing that,
And I
but
quote,
I think you cannot look at this show without knowing that he's a fan. Go ahead,
he has
Peter.
to be.
he goes on
Has
to
to be.
say Todd and I have been fans of each other's work for many, many years.
Okay,
So,
there you go.
it was very clear that he played the games and loved them, Todd said, and had a vision for what it could be on the screen. We were really, really
Yeah.
patient. Once we found that, it was very clear to us that this was the right way to bring Fallout to the screen. So
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I'm glad it was,
So-
it's just talking about, I'm glad that they waited for the right moment. Because, if
Me
they
too.
if they jumped into this, because of profit, it's possible that it could have been something totally different and not even remotely as good.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
like any of the Mario Brothers movies adaptations, like the '80s one.
Yeah.
I like the new one.
Jack Black is
I thought it was
phenomenal.
fun.
So,
But
just
it
gonna
wasn't
say
live
that.
action, was it? I'm saying the live
No,
action
no.
ones.
Oh,
The live action ones.
yes.
Not the 3D
The
animation.
live
ones.
action ones were a thing that existed.
Right. That's my point. It could have been like that.
Yeah.
Where Fallout was a fleeting thought that inspired,
Mhm.
I'm excited for season 2. Having watched all of season 1, I am very excited for season 2.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? What are your opinions on? Gosh, I have so many things to bring up, but we're going to start here. What are your opinions on the fact that they dropped it all at once? Would you have rather had it drip fed?
No.
No, because I totally wanted to binge it.
Mhm.
I can understand from like a content creation point of view how it might have been challenging for a lot of people wanting to
Yeah, because
report
the
on
thing
it.
is, without that weekly release, as content creators, you're not going to have the audience with a binge situation that you would have if it had been drip fed week by week.
Sure.
It makes it difficult to podcast on.
Mhm.
But the thing is, we don't care if people listen. We're just we just want to hang out. We don't
Yeah.
care if the people actually listen.
Like, okay. Here's a crazy thought,
Oh no.
right?
Here we
If
go.
you don't want to binge it,
Don't binge it.
don't.
Mhm.
Crazy thought.
See, the issue with that though is that spoilers are everywhere. Like, I have seen so many spoilers everywhere, just like casually on
I have-
news things and just everywhere.
It's very
People
popular.
are so casual about dropping the
Very,
spoilers.
very
True.
popular.
Like this, by the second day, I was seeing spoilers on a major thing that happens, I assume towards the end of the show, like a major thing that happens, that people were very angry about. And I hadn't even watched the first episode yet. Like, some of us have jobs. Like, I had to work.
I mean, I'm working right now like 12 to 16 hours a day, and I don't know how, but I managed to punch out that entire season in like 3 days.
Mhm. I think it's called lack of sleep.
Yeah, I was very tired. I was up till like 1 or 2 in the morning, just glued to the TV
Mhm.
watching it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to me, it wasn't just a TV show, it was the next Fallout, right? I didn't matter if I was
Right.
sitting there watching it
Mhm.
or playing it. It was the next Fallout to me.
Mhm.
So,
It felt like that too. And
yes.
I mean, I started watching it with a coworker, and I agreed that I was like, you know what? I'm only gonna watch it when you do. And we had like little Amazon watch parties a
Mhm.
couple different nights, and we watched them all together. And like that was a lot of fun. So I didn't binge it, but also I didn't like we binged a couple episodes in a row.
Mhm.
But I really liked the pace that we watched it at. And I was, man, it went by so fast.
I
I gotta
know.
watch
Yeah.
it again.
I'm already
I'm
rewatching
watching
it.
them with Archon, and we have opposite work schedules, so that makes it hard to fit them in.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I could absolutely imagine.
What else you got on the news, Shalene?
Well, of course, as expected, the success of the show has increased the popularity of the games. As we all know, it's been a minute since they've released a Fallout game, but the Fallout games that do exist have been just really selling huge numbers. The Fallout franchise has reached 5 million concurrent players in a day.
What?
And yes,
That's wild.
Fallout 76 accounted for more than 1 million of those players, which is an all-time high for
Yeah.
Fallout 76.
If-
I can't believe that the servers stood up to it.
Yeah. Have you gone and looked at like the Steam numbers?
I haven't,
The
no.
spike is hilarious. Like it's
Yeah.
like an average constant, and then thoop, like a day
Yeah.
before the game
Yes.
releases, it just shoots
Yeah,
up.
it's interesting.
Mhm.
You know,
What-
of all the times I've played Fallout 76 in the last couple of weeks, I've only been booted through from a server maybe twice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
things bring.
They've
are
improved the
pretty stable.
stability significantly since the last time that you were heavily into it.
So 5
What
million,
makes-
5 million players in the first day after the. Is
In
this
a
after the
single
show?
day. It
Oh, in a
doesn't
single
say
day.
which day. They don't
Okay.
specify which day this happened. And Fallout released a little 76 style perk card on social media saying, "Welcome to over 1 million dwellers into Appalachia in a single day." Holy moly. With an image of just little dwellers having a great time, playing games,
I
having
love
some
that.
nerd rage. It's
What-
really cute.
What makes me giggle so much about all of this, right? Is all of these YouTube videos now full of like things you didn't know in Fallout 4. And you're like, we all knew this. But
Yes.
my favorite ones are like, hey, Fallout 76 is a great game.
Ah,
and
yes.
here's why. And it's
Oh
like,
my God, it's
you
actually
hated
good.
this game since it came out.
Mhm.
And then Fallout show comes out and everyone's like, it's such a good game. It's a great
Wait,
game.
Fallout 76 is fun, actually.
I love you
And
guys.
it's just like,
I love you guys.
well, we've known the whole time, but okay.
Mhm.
I just love the I don't know what you want to call it, the bandwagon riding, as it were. It just makes me chuckle.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite Fallout content creators is Zero Fox on Twitter.
Mhm.
And he posted like a version of the meme of the spaceman, like with the gun,
Oh.
holding the gun behind himself.
Yeah.
right.
And he's like, "You mean it was fun the whole time? It was fun all along?"
That's good.
The game's been fun since the start.
Yeah. And of course, there were valid criticisms. We're not saying that there weren't.
Sure.
Because
100%.
there were many valid criticisms. And if you just want to scroll back through this very show feed, you can hear a lot of them.
Mhm.
But
Oh, yeah. 100%.
but there was always joy to be found in that game.
Yep.
And there still is today.
Like, one of the
Um,
criticisms is I forgot how pushy of paid skins it was. I completely forgot about that. And
Mhm.
oh boy, it
Yes.
certainly
yeah,
is.
they sure do want to sell you stuff. They surely do. Yeah.
Hey, have you tried Fallout first? Have you tried it? Have you tried it? Here, get some stuff,
I'm still angry about Fallout First. I'm still bitter. Like I've been subscribed to Fallout First now for years, but I'm still bitter about it
Such a
because,
sucker.
well, in my opinion, the game is borderline unplayable without that scrap box.
It
You're
is.
not
re-
wrong.
It really is. And like I booted the game up maybe like 3 or 4 times, and even just on those small occasions, I'm like,
Mhm.
maybe I should go ahead and resubscribe to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So.
to me, it's just borderline unplayable without scrap box. Anyways, Fallout 76 and Fallout 4 are both within the list of the top 10 best-selling games on Steam right now, and both are in the top 50 for most played on Steam.
That's
Jonathan
incredible.
Rush, the creative director for Fallout 76 at Bethesda, said, "It's been amazing to see the large influx of players coming to the game. A very exciting moment with many, many more to come." And of course, Fallout 4's long-awaited current gen update has dropped. And that is another boost to yesterday. It happened yesterday.
I haven't played with that yet.
So we've got patch notes for it. Of course, this is like a 9-year-old game, right? And now we've got a patch for it, and with patch notes, it's wild. They've added some new Creation Club content that is now free for everyone. Enclave weapon skins, Enclave armor skins, the Tesla cannon, Hellfire power armor, XO2 power armor, Heavy incinerator. makeshift weapons pack. This includes some grenade launchers, a nail gun, baseball launcher, saw blade launcher, and piggy bank paste weaponry. And there's a Halloween workshop.
Aw.
Cute.
Some changes and new features, including some quality options, performance mode and quality mode, and a pretty long string of bug fixes, which I feel like it's about time you got to these guys. Why did you wait 9 years? Why?
I wonder
Fixed
how
some
much
flickering in Vault 11.
I wonder how much of the new content is just from 76. like
a
the
lot
Halloween,
of it's just Creation Club.
the
stuff.
Halloween,
yeah.
like yeah.
But part of the issue with this is that while the next gen update increases your visual quality on consoles, it really doesn't on PC. If you had a decent rig, it really
Yeah.
makes virtually no changes on PC, aside from breaking the Fallout script extender mod, which
Womp.
is necessary for basically every mod, which has essentially killed Fallout London, the highly
I was
anticipated
just gonna ask
DLC
that.
sized mod. Yes.
Oh, those guys must be pissed.
Yes, they released their launch date. They announced their release date, is what I meant to say. They announced their release date, and very shortly thereafter, Fallout announced the release of this next gen patch. It almost felt like a calculated move against modders. Surely it wasn't. Fallout has always been pretty friendly to the modding community, but less so of late. And I can't help but wonder if it is a conspiracy. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think they just want people to buy. They want people to buy 76, and they want people to buy 4, and they want people to buy New Vegas with the launch of that other Fallout show.
Yeah, I
They
don't
want to
think they
maximize
cared.
profits, right?
Yeah,
I just don't think they
weren't
cared.
worried about it.
Or they had it in plan for a long time, and they're like, "Well, we can't not release it because of
Yeah.
a mod."
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
One thing that I do want to point out is that the next gen update is a whole separate trophy list on the PS5. So if you're into that, you can get the trophies all over again on PlayStation 5. Unfortunately, it is not a separate achievement list on Xbox. I tested last night. I'm not bitter.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. That's the news. That's what I got.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was nice and short. Do we have this next segment? Are we doing this, Shalene, or are we skipping right
I've got
to
nothing for that. Do you have
Okay.
anything for that?
No. Let's skip. Don't disable your camera, Rick, if you have to just
I gotta
Just
go
step
pee.
aside.
All
I
right.
know,
Step
because
aside.
but it borks everything, and then we're all
Okay,
wackadoos.
fine.
So
I was trying to be.
He's trying to be sneaky.
Forget it.
it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, he'll be back. It's fine.
While Rick has stepped away, let's hop into the plot summary for the first episode of that other Fallout show.
Hey, Thunder,
What's up?
this isn't like that time my dad went to get the milk, is it? He's gonna come
He's
back?
coming back. He's coming back. I
Okay.
promise. Yeah. So yeah, the first episode in the Fallout TV series is titled "The End," which I think is just so on par for Bethesda.
It's pretty funny to begin with the end.
Yes, and it made its series premiere as the beloved American post-apocalyptic universe as a drama television series, and it was written by series developers Geneva Robertson Dorrit and Graham Wagner, and directed by executive producer Jonathan Nolan. It was released on Amazon Prime April 10th, alongside with the rest of the episodes of the season. This episode in particular depicts the aftermath of the apocalypse, the nuclear exchange, and an alternate history of Earth where advances in nuclear technology after World War II led to the emergence of retro-futuristic societies and subsequent resource war. Survivors took refuge in fallout shelters known as vaults, built to preserve humanity in the event of a nuclear annihilation. The episode introduces and starts out with Walter Goggins, in his original
Mm.
human form. We also see an introduction of the show's main character, Lucy, a young woman who leaves behind her home in Vault 33 to venture out into the dangerously unforgiving wasteland of devastated Los Angeles, California.
Now, Lucy may be the protagonist. She may be the analog for the player character, but nothing that has Walton Goggins in it. He's always the main character.
Oh, yeah.
Of whatever
Yeah.
situation he's in. Can we all agree on that? Like,
Oh yeah.
when I watched Justified,
Oh,
I was rooting for him. I was rooting for
yeah.
the
Me
whole
too.
time. The
I'm
whole
rewatching
time.
that show, by the way.
And I'm just going to
Great.
refer to Goggins as Goggins throughout our discussion because they call him the Ghoul, and I
They
think
do.
he deserves a name. He deserves a name. So, I mean, but so like how do we want to just sort of like hop into this first scene and talk about the show and go through it, or do we want to give our first impressions, or like what do you want to do? Do you want to just hop right into the first scene?
What? I mean, sure. Let's just do it.
Let's just roll through it. Yeah.
So I love, Rick, while you stepped away, we were saying how much we love that the episode is titled The End, which is just so fitting with the Fallout universe, that quirkiness, the dark humor, as it were, that we know and love about the Fallout series. So the scene
We're going
opens
through
up.
the whole episode? Jeez.
No, I'm going to skip through parts.
Oh,
but
copy.
This first
Okay.
scene, right? This first scene, which is presumably the prologue, October 23rd, 2077. Goggins seen here performing on a horse, which turns out to be a birthday party in Los Angeles. Famous actor Cooper Howard is his name, and he's entertaining.
Howard.
He's
Howard,
I
as
know.
in the Lord our Todd.
I didn't even catch that.
I love that the opening of the series is the scene opening with him just slinging rope, juxtaposed, over this mid-mod style California home. It's just so good.
So you do realize that showing B-roll is probably going to get us taken off of YouTube.
No.
Probably. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think so?
Almost certainly, yes.
Oh,
I would
well,
just
mean,
do stills.
I'm just gonna pause it then while we chat about this scene.
Mhm.
But
So one of
go ahead,
I
Rick.
really want to point this out, but one of my major criticisms with this show, and you can kind of see it in this very beginning here, is like why didn't they get Stephen Russell to voice the Mr. Handies whenever they're there?
Yes. They always do this with TV adaptations of stuff. It's still a voice acting job. Why wouldn't you get Stephen Russell?
I get it.
Maybe he turned it down.
Maybe.
I
maybe
can't
that's
imagine
true.
Stephen. We should ask him. I can't imagine him
you gonna
turning
text
that
him?
You know,
down.
the other thing is with Einan Zur. Maybe they didn't ask him. Maybe he turned it down. I do like the score, but it is interesting, right? Like I know there's legalese and stuff like that, but I always wonder why they didn't, like with Jack Black and Claptrap.
Mhm.
Why not get the voice actor to do that? But yeah. Anyway, that's just one of the things that I was like, I know it makes sense a little bit more going forward. There's a time. Well, even in the trailer, there's a Mr. Handy that doesn't have Stephen Russell's voice, and it makes a little more sense for that particular one.
Ask Stephen Russell.
Like, what do you have him on speed dial?
Yes, it's a thing. They're very close.
We're pros. I mean,
now I realized in rewatching this episode, in this scene where he's putting the kid up on the horse and the two dads are like, one
him.
says to the other, like, what's Cooper Howard doing working a kid's birthday party? And the other guy's like, well, alimony. And I realized in that moment that this scene is actually coming after everything that we see in the rest of the season. So the timeline is really important here.
They jump around a lot in the timeline.
Yes, we have begun with the end in mind. You're right, Shalene. And I didn't actually really realize it because I didn't put two and two together at the time. But yeah. Any other thoughts or comments? Go ahead, Rick.
No, the one thing I was going to say about this scene is the little girl that they get to play as kid. When she's holding her thumb up because he explains to her
Yes.
about
here.
how in the Marines they tell him to hold a thumb up, and if the mushroom cloud is smaller than the thumb, you have time to run away, and if it
Yeah.
isn't, well then dead.
Yeah.
And her face and her acting when she's looking at clearly nothing, right? Because she's acting, there's not a real
Mhm.
mushroom cloud there. She's a really good little actor with like
The
acting
casting was
terrified.
great.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, but just a kid who can act is really cool and refreshing, and that really caught me off guard. Was like, dang, she's good.
Mhm.
She looks terrified, you know. So I thought that was really good.
We
Mhm.
also get a hint in this scene that anything that's political that's happening around nuclear war in the world has already been sort of announced, or things have
Mhm.
escalated because they turn the TV on and the
Yeah, they're tired of
weatherman
hearing about it.
the weatherman says, "I'm sorry, I can't do the weather. I don't even know if how can I do the weather if I don't even know there's going to be a next week?"
Spoiler, there isn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So and then it switches over to a Sugar Bombs ad, which sponsors Grognak the Barbarian TV show, which I think is just
Something
so
that-
fantastic.
This whole party scene really immediately gave me confidence in this show because it had that combination of whimsy and darkness
Mhm.
that we've always talked about as being the linchpin of what the Fallout series is and what makes it special and what sets it apart.
And they nailed that so well in this show,
Yeah.
where it's so dark and silly all at the same time.
Yeah, I also liked how like everything was so perfect in the birthday. Like everybody was dressed so
Mhm.
nice. It was very like perfect, and then she goes to the TV and she switches it to the Grognak show as if to say, you know, we're not listening to that. I think she even says, you know, we're only thinking happy thoughts today, obviously because it's a birthday. But I think it
Mhm.
also kind of speaks to that naive mentality in the society of the Fallout universe where people were like, everything is great. The world
Yes.
is amazing. And like, we have no problems. Meanwhile,
See,
we have
you know,
atomic bombs in the backyard, right?
I didn't get naive. I got fatigue. You know,
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I picked up fatigue of just like I am so sick of hearing
I
about
did not
doomsday
get
all the
fatigue
time.
from the mom for sure.
Yeah.
The vibes I was getting from the mom were very much Karen is going to make sure her little boy has the
Oh.
best day any little boy ever had. He is going to have the happiest 12th birthday anybody ever had. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's crazy. You know,
That's-
5 minutes and 30 seconds into the show, boom, nuclear detonation. I'm like,
Mhm.
here we go. Yes, we're in it now. And you know, Goggins comes outside and we see
This
this.
just a
scene
fire.
was immaculate.
It was so
Yeah.
good. It
immaculate.
was so good.
Oof, his face, the different
Oh,
things
his
that crossed
face.
his face. I just, whatever they paid him, it wasn't enough.
I liked how there was this moment, right, where the shockwave from the blast came
Yeah.
and it blew all the glass out of the house, right? We see that
Mhm.
here. These people walked away without a single scratch on any of them.
We made that same
Yes!
comment. We're like,
Like what? And then I also like to point out if Goggins went inside to get a piece of birthday cake and he's walking back outside to the yard, how does he not see the blast before? I don't know. Maybe I'm
Well,
just
he was
reading-
looking down.
I was
It
going to say,
showed
actually,
his face
you
turned down.
you can see he's not actually looking up.
He's
Yeah,
looking at the
yeah.
cake, at his footing, and at his baby girl.
Yeah, he's trying not to drop it.
Mm.
Yeah.
There was a few moments in this show that I was like, no, but you know, okay. Overall,
Yeah.
um,
It was interesting to see our first Fallout shelter and
True.
Fallout shelter sign. I thought that was kind of neat.
and Fallout
Mhm.
Shelter fight.
They hop in, they
Yes.
hop on this horse and then they ride off into not the sunset. Um,
I felt like taking off on a horse was actually a more fortunate way to get away from the bombs than trying to drive a car.
oh,
or-
absolutely. None of those cars are off-road
Mhm.
material, right?
No.
Yeah.
None of them.
And the bombs themselves, the explosions, they seemed so well realized to me.
Okay, did you
Just-
guys also hold your thumb up to the TV like I did? Because I
No.
did. I held my thumb up to the TV.
No.
Oh, okay. Just me? Great. Okay. Never mind.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, this was it was a great prologue, I think. And then we see Fallout sort of emerge in this like ashy
Mhm.
letters, which was really nice. I thought that was a nice touch. Short intro, no long thing with credits and people, and it all comes at the end, so it's very clean.
Mhm.
I like that they kept this theme throughout the show. Like each
Mhm.
time it would be the prologue of the show, and then the Fallout logo would change based on what had happened.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Yes.
really enjoyed that
There's
they
a lot
that,
to
that
be
they did that.
said. There's a lot to be said in the style of the letterings for each episode.
Mhm.
It's very neat.
Right? Like this episode's about the nuclear detonations, so naturally we're going to see letters that are all singed and
Mhm.
things like that. Then it splashes 219 years later, and bam.
So that tells us 200. I'm sorry, the lore person in me
yes,
immediately pops out. 219 years later is telling us that this takes place in 2296. Fallout 4 took place in 2287. So this is more recent in the timeline.
Yep.
And we know that the Fallout TV show is canon. So whatever happens here will
Happens.
change. Yes, it will. I'm sure that Fallout 5 or whatever the next thing is will be set after this in the timeline.
That'd
And
be cool.
there'll be repercussions.
Yeah.
This.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say this scene with Lucy doing the interview with being a potential like not what's the word I want to
Like a transfer student.
transfer candidate for birthing people is one of the most quintessential like
Yep.
like if you want to encapsulate the Fallout universe in the vault, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like here and one of the reoccurring themes of this show, and especially this first episode, is the ease that the vault dwellers have with sex.
Mhm.
They do not cuss,
Yeah,
right?
it's weird. Well, there is
And
definitely
it's the
yeah.
funniest thing. And some of
Now-
the best lines come up when it comes to discussing sex in this
Yes.
particular episode.
Yes, it's
Cousin
very good.
stuff is only fun for so long.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah.
The thing that I liked the most about this interview situation was that it was basically telling us what her tag skills are.
Yes. It was her
Yes,
special.
you're right. Yep.
Right?
It was a
Yes.
great montage of showing what she's capable of.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was an
Her
excellent overlap
RPG
and
build was
reference.
absolutely
Yeah.
showing us what her tag skills are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that we're also greeted with "Don't Let the Stars Get in Your Eyes" by Perry Como, which I think is just a fitting choice of music because she's trying to like woo them, right?
Mhm.
And I love this sort of self-introduction, like you said, Shalene, as an advertisement for a husband, which I mean immediately throws you into the pangs of Vault Dweller life, right? Like it's just she's submitting an application to what did they call it? The triennial trade with Vault
Yeah, like
32.
can we be frank? What's wrong with Vault? What's wrong with them if she hasn't found a suitor yet?
Well, they're all cousins.
They're
The
inbred. Oh, yeah,
ones
that's
she's
true.
found are her cousins.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
And
So-
that's not
That's a no
that's not a
bueno.
sustainable sexual relationship.
No, it is not.
Ella Purnell is the actor who is playing Lucy McLean, one of our main protagonists in this show. I love that we are introduced to a female protagonist. I think that that's a nice ode to.
She's so good.
Yes,
so
excellent. And she has these giant Susan Sarandon eyes
She
that
has
just
huge
Her
eyes.
make
eyes are
her
so big.
so
She's like an
innocent,
anime
right?
character.
They make her just the most innocent, sort of gullible
Mhm.
character that they could
Doe-eyed.
send off out
You
into
know?
the wasteland. Like,
Mhm.
Yep.
but one of the things actually that I noticed that I didn't notice until I watched the episode was was that she's a brunette. And if you look at all of the traditional Vault girls, it's all blonde hair. So I think that this is sort of like a tip to like, she is not like the rest of the herd, you know, she's
True. Yeah.
she's a little bit different. And I think that that's what speaks to her wanting to go out into the wasteland and venture outside of her comfort zone too, because she doesn't quite fit in here, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Lucy so beautifully embodies the spirit of Vault-Tec and just the go get 'em, the willingness to do what it takes.
Okay,
And
okay.
I just,
Guys, I need to tell you this right now. Her father looks 90% of how the owner of my company looks like.
Kyle
The
McLaughlin.
hair,
dang.
the color, the face, everything.
Really?
Yes.
I need
So
to
all
see
the
a picture of
coworkers,
your boss.
all the coworkers I was working with, they're like, "That's Mr. Clare."
That's amazing.
It is really eerie how much they look very similar.
wow. The casting was so good.
Oh,
Casting
perfect.
was very good, and I'll mention some tidbits as we go through our discussion. But I just want to mention that prior to starring in the Amazon Prime original, Purnell starred as Jackie in the first season of Yellow Jackets, and
Mhm.
Emma in the Ya movie as Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and then she also starred in Dolce's Kick-Ass 2 and Mackenzie in Wild Lake. So she has a she's a rising star, and I think that this show's really going to put her on the map for sure. And then of course, yeah, we see Kyle MacLachlan
Mhm.
introduced in the first 10 minutes or so of the show. He goes by Hank McLean. He's the overseer of Vault
Hank.
33, which is where they are located. And he has two children, which are Lucy and Norm. We'll see Norm in a minute, but yeah, McLaughlin is a very well-known actor and veteran in the community, right? He starred as Dale Cooper in Twin Peaks, and that is actually the role that got him this role in Fallout. But he also appeared in other shows, comedy in Portlandia as the mayor, and in the 1984 version of Dune, if you don't remember, as
Yes, that's
Paul
right.
Atreides, and Trey McDougal in Sex and the City, and as the captain in How I Met Your Mother. He's also Brie Vandekamp's husband in Desperate Housewives, so he has a lot of prominent roles. I think the first movie I seen him in was Flintstones.
That's right.
He was the boss
too.
dude in Flintstones
He was.
with Halle Berry.
He
Do you
was.
remember? So good.
Yes.
Don't remember.
The evil boss.
The evil boss.
Oh, that takes me back.
And it's because of him I call concrete Concretia, because in that movie he had a daughter named Concretia. So
Brilliant.
yeah.
Brilliant.
But we also get a glimpse of the Vault Council, some of the other characters on the council as well, and we see their faces throughout the series,
Mhm.
of course.
It's so funny that just from this scene alone, you're like, those two dudes are so soft.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
woman is going to
Yes.
be the motherly grandmother.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Like, you just see it. You
You
just see it.
you just kind of know, right? And then
Yeah.
I love that we see the first use of the Pip-Boy
Yes.
Oh, yeah. When the
here as well, which makes me want a Pip-Boy in real life even more now, right?
And it popped up as a quest on her Pip-Boy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was it was just I loved the video gaminess that they
Yeah.
instilled into the
Well,
show.
in fact,
So good.
Norm is playing a video game. When we first see him, I
Yes,
believe he's
Atomic
playing.
Command.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I love that Norm is like the nerdy brother that loves to play video games. He is all
He-
of us. He is
And
all
he
of
was
us.
the
you
kid from Hannah Montana, right? He was Rico.
Apparently, that's what they're saying in chat.
Yeah.
But I also want to say that Norm is the only awake one in this entire vault.
Mhm.
Mhm.
He's the only one that like can see through
Yeah.
all the crap, and he's like,
He's the
This is
skeptic.
just-
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a
"This
big
is
fan
just
of
not
Norm.
right." Yeah, me
Moses
too.
Moses Arias is his
Arias.
name. Yeah.
He's
Oh,
so
sorry.
short.
He actually started his career portraying Rico in the Disney Channel show Hannah Montana, as you said, Shalene. He's also been portrayed Bonzo Madrid in The Ender's Game, and Juan Pablo
He was
in
Bonzo.
Nacho Libre.
Oh my gosh.
He was in Nacho Libre.
He was, yes, that's
Juan
right. He
Pablo.
would be grateful, Juan Pablo. Why can't we just have like a salad or something?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He was.
And
He's so tiny.
he also played Igor in The King of Staten Island. So
I can't believe
So
that he was
good.
in Nacho
So
Libre.
yeah.
Oh, he
let
was
me
so
see.
cute too.
Here we see
Little
him
kid.
walking with Lucy, and they're getting set up for the wedding and everything. So one of the things that I noticed with this, I don't know if this has any sort of significance, but they're signing the wedding dress. She's signing
yeah,
the
they're
wedding
passing
dress.
it
Yes,
down.
because they're all sharing one wedding dress.
It's one wedding dress for the whole
Yeah.
vault,
I
right?
did
Like,
think there should be more signatures on that wedding dress.
Well, you know, I don't know. It's a show.
It
It's
just seemed like not enough
Yeah.
enough
I-
signatures.
I thought it was a cool touch though. The fact that like they're
Mhm.
just sharing this sort of thing.
I really loved this scene though when she puts the
Mhm.
dress on, she walks down the hall, and Annabelle O'Hagan, who plays Stephanie Harper in the show, says to Lucy, she remarks on her dress being too tight, and Steph says, "Won't be for long on my wedding night. That dress got off almost as fast as Bert did." And I was like, "Oh, they went there." Like they
Whoa.
actually
Zing.
went there. And I'm like, okay, so this is the show is there's some smut here. I like this. Okay. Yeah.
Couple things. The very like bits and pieces we've seen of what was the blonde chick's name? I forget her name already.
Stephanie Harper.
Steph. I'm hoping. Okay, so because of how this episode goes, right? This like red wedding type of situation we have here. I want her to be this like maybe I'll wait till we get to that part. But yeah, I don't know.
Steph is great.
Also,
I think she's great.
Vendor, I was getting a little bit of like Miss Maisel vibes from the main character a little bit. Like I was
From
like, maybe
Lucy?
it's just because of the era. Like maybe it's just because of the era and like her like constant state of optimism, no matter what the situation is. She's just incredibly optimistic. I was kept
Relentless
getting
optimism is the Vault Tech way, though.
Well,
it really is, but I kept
I-
getting marvelous Miss Maisel vibes, and I loved it though. I really did.
Rachel Brosnahan would have been great for that role if she had bigger eyes.
Well, no, I wouldn't recast Lucy at all, but I just meant that like I feel like those two would have been friends, and if they were alive at the same time. But yeah.
Yeah, so we see the wedding, and then they head over to the entrance of Vault 32, and this is where we get this weird exchange between Chet, who is Vault 33's gatekeeper, and Lucy. Now, Chet, they're presumably cousins, yes,
I
and
love
they've
you.
slept
We're
together before.
cousins.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I really like Chet, and I feel a lot of sympathy for Chet.
I did too.
He's a precious little puppy, and I feel like he needs to be treated better.
Did you guys notice? I just want to jump back to the. Well, no, just keep going. What were you gonna say, Rick?
No, I was gonna say he's the epitome of that like Leave It to Beaver kind of Boy Scout of America kind of like character, and I love that about him. And there's like moments where he knows that too, but he just decides to keep living in that, and I really like that about this character a lot.
Yeah, Dave Register is his name, and he was also in FBI and The Witch Files. And he's also known for his roles in Graves and The Price as well. Yeah.
Do you guys remember Gatekeeper being like an official role in any of the vaults that we have explored?
No.
I couldn't remember seeing any records of an official Gatekeeper either.
No.
There was like, I mean, like I just assumed that there was a vault guard stationed at the gate or stationed to kind of watch the door.
It may be different because they regularly open the doors between the vaults.
And I think
so maybe
is this the first time we've ever seen any record of vaults sharing like the
Connected
hotel
vaults,
door
yes.
between? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, like the door between hotel rooms. That's awful.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
I mean,
what it
kind of is.
Yeah.
It totally is.
It's it's so funny like when she's saying these things to Chet, like, Chet, come on, like we're cousins. I don't really see this going anywhere. Everybody is standing there listening to this conversation like it's
They
just
But I mean,
normal.
their relationship was not a secret.
Well,
Everybody knew.
Vault, it's a small vault, so
Mhm.
word gets around, right? But I just love how like nonchalant it is and like part of the norm.
And here's the thing we should all face, right? We watch this and we blush and we go, oh, ho, ho. But if we really lived all of our lives in a tiny little community, at some point something's got to give.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to face
Somebody's
that fact.
kissing a cousin.
Somebody's kissing a cousin. And but the fact that like when they say it as a joke, part of you, like when like her and the girl or Betty are walking in the hall, part of you is like, oh, that's a funny joke. And then when this happens,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that wasn't a joke.
It's not a joke.
Yeah. You know, when they were walking in the hall, Steph said, I'm excited to raise our kids together. And there's sort of like a pause from Lucy there in that moment. Like she was kind of like, well, and I never picked up on it until rewatching the episode that it kind of gave me the impression that either she didn't want to have kids or she maybe she couldn't have kids.
Well, maybe there's some reservation too.
Or
I don't know. I feel like she was definitely wanting to have kids. I felt like that was the goal of all of this.
Yeah, it just seemed a little strange that she had that sort of reaction to raising kids together. Maybe she just wasn't comfortable, you know, raising
and like she
kids
hasn't
in a vault
met
sort
her
of thing.
husband yet.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
so
know,
let's talk about the husband because the husband.
let's talk about the husband.
Let's talk about Monty. Where is he? Here he is. Monty, the husband. Which Rick, you didn't know that this was his name.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I forgot.
Yeah. Okay, this is one beautiful man. I just want to say this because this man is beautiful, you guys.
Okay, but that haircut is sus.
Super 90s.
The moment I saw that
He's
haircut,
in a
I
boy
was
band.
like, this is not a good man. Like, before we saw any of the red flags, I immediately thought, you know, ding, 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 ding. All the red flag parades of red flags for that haircut.
Yeah, I mean, like the vault door opened and the whole thing was like,
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we see Lee Moldaver. We're introduced to her, and she also looks disheveled, you know, and like she's supposed to be the overseer of the vault, and my initial. She makes a comment about blight hitting their wheat, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe they're just having a hard time.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
But yeah.
The ringer was during the meal and you see tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
That was when you're like, and I think
That's
all
not
of us
very
who were
okie
watching.
dokie of you.
Yeah, and we were all watching and I'm like, man, this is gonna be a red wedding sort of situation, isn't it?
Mhm.
And well,
Sarita Chowdhury portrays Lee Moldaver in the series.
Great actress.
She
And
is
she
a
is
celebrated
menacing.
performer known for films like Fresh Kill and Evil Eye. Marvel fans may also remember her as Kith Leone in Jessica Jones. Is it Leone or Leone?
No,
Leone?
I'm just
Kith Leone.
Kith.
Her most recent film in 2021, she played Dev Patel's mother in David Lowery's excellent The Green Knight, and she's now taking on this role in Fallout, but she'll also be part of the HBO series The Colony as well. So,
can we take a very brief step back and talk about the walk down to the vault door and just how lovingly realized Vault 33 is?
oh, it's so
I
good.
I did
feel
notice
like-
that too.
I feel like I could find my way around that vault because I've been through so many of them.
Mhm.
You know,
yeah.
it's so, I felt at home in these halls.
Oh, you know, it definitely was taken more from the Fallout 4 design
Absolutely.
than
Mhm.
3 or New Vegas. Absolutely it was.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
Okay, carry on.
I liked how you know, they do their sort of introduction and she meets Monty and right away she's sort of like, well, this is a beautiful man. And I love this comment that Steph makes.
And
Lucky.
she's like,
Yeah, she's
and
like
Bert's
lucky.
like, huh?
And Bert's
yeah.
Bert's just like, what? Like, so good. Yeah. And then they do the dinner. They have this dinner. And this is where I sort of felt like, okay, things are not okay here. You know, like
Yes.
these people are not just going through a hard time. They have tattoos and they're eating food like they haven't
And
seen
scars.
food for years, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, this was very suspicious.
And this speaks volumes to the tone of understanding the universe and how to frame shots and tell a story with editing that
Mhm.
even though they didn't really give any dead giveaways, those of us who are used to this world went, oh damn.
This is gonna be
Mhm.
bad. It's gonna be
It's
bad.
it's
About
gonna
to
go
be a
down.
bloodbath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and like, and I, you know, it's funny that, and this is again one of the dead giveaways that the director knew this world and creating that tension in the realm of, or creating that tension in midst of a beautiful sunset and cornfields and a
Nebraska
wedding,
cornfield.
and all of us who are used to this are going, this isn't good.
So for
It's too pretty.
For you, Shalene, it was the hair. It was Monty's hair that
Immediately, as
Yeah.
soon as I saw Monty, the hair that is not good
Not
old
perfect.
50s American kid hair.
Yeah. I mean, I was distracted
Absolutely
by
not.
his beauty and then also distracted by Moldaver's like, we're going through a hard time. But I think what tipped it off for me was when Hank did his speech, because he
Mhm.
mentions about the surface and the possibility of going up in the next generation. And then he speculates on what's it like up there, right?
Yes.
And Norm, Lucy's brother, who is sitting at the same table or in the same area as Moldaver,
Mhm.
looks at her and she looks at him and she's like really suspicious. Like she knows what's up there. She knows what's on the surface. And right then I was like, you know that scene with Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's like, up, that's it. That's the
Yes.
one.
Yes.
That was me. I was like, this is it. It's going down. Like this is gonna be
Mhm.
bad. So yeah, it's good. I like that Some Enchanted Evening played during this scene with the
It
wedding.
was so good.
Mhm.
They have done such a great job with choosing songs.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
100%.
and then they start dancing. They do a little dancing, and then that's when we get
They make a little
Before we
love.
jump past the wedding, I just want to point out there was some of those paper, like crepe paper honeycomb wedding bell decorations on the
Yeah.
poles. Those are straight out of Fallout 76 recent event rewards.
Ah.
Mhm.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Oh, for you audio nerds,
There they
if
are.
you scroll back, I was like, hey, those are nice Vox amplifiers he's got on stage. And I forget what name they gave
Oh,
them, but
these
they were
here,
not
these
Vox.
ones.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, hey, those are the Vox Beatles era looking amps, and they were not Vox.
We're probably
Yeah.
Radiation King.
Yeah, which by the way, that brand does pop up in the show, and I thought that
Mhm.
was a very nice nod to paying attention to that sort of thing.
Yeah, the only thing that didn't quite fit, and I don't know, maybe if it was just a graphics thing in the games, but the radio that they show at the beginning
Oh, I
at the
thought it
birthday
fit.
party, I was
thought it
like,
was
man,
immaculate.
it's kind of a little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
I don't remember the radio at the birthday party,
Mhm. Yeah.
but okay.
Anyways, so the wedding's going on. Her husband asks, says, "Take me to my new home," and that's when things get steamy, right? Because
Indeed.
this is where we see.
I didn't expect this.
I was
Really?
not.
The game is always a fade to black. The games are always fade to black.
True.
And
Now-
I figured it would be closed door.
I
I didn't think we'd
yeah.
have open door sex scenes.
I really want to show his butt, but
Well,
oh,
there it is.
You have. Okay, and now you have.
You have, but it's
There's-
a guy butt, so it's
There's the
okay, right?
very nice man butt on the screen there. But they get into this steamy scene, and it was just like that's when we first heard Lucy's iconic quote that has taken the internet by storm.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Which I was like, oh my God, she is me. I say that all the time, right? But yeah, her husband.
Oh my gosh, that's the lily pads. That's the painting. The painting is an in-game
Oh yeah,
painting.
I never noticed that.
Ah!
the lily pad painting.
See, again, that's just something that only
So
anyone who's ever played the
lovingly-
game
yeah,
would know to put in the game.
yeah.
I'm so excited.
Ugh. I like that "Keep That Coffee Hot" plays by the Scatman Crothers,
Mhm.
and by Scatman Crothers, and the lyrics of that song is just so
Yes,
fitting with
they're
the sex
so
scene.
dirty.
Like
So
coffee,
dirty.
it's about coffee hitting the spot, and
Mhm.
I just thought it was so fitting. Yeah. I think that this is the first moment in the episode where I really thought this is different from the Fallout
Yes,
universe.
same.
Right? What did you think about
Yeah.
this?
It was definitely different, but like, it didn't feel that out of place, right?
Yeah, I didn't think it was discordant.
No.
No, I mean,
but it was definitely a change.
Yes.
sure. I mean, but at the same time, they can't just do a fade to black. I mean,
I
it wouldn't,
understand that. Yeah.
They didn't show any sort of, I always don't understand this, but they're like, female nudity we can't do, but we can
Yeah.
certainly do male
They show the
butts
whole
and boobies.
entire dude, but Lucy keeps her dress on.
Yeah,
Now,
like
to be
we see-
fair,
we
that
do-
also might be an actress decision and fine.
Yes.
So, but
I like
it
that
just,
they
I was
kept
gonna say, it just
classy.
felt,
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
And then you think, how many times has that happened in that wedding dress? And I'm surprised it's not like starched hard, but
Aw,
I
Rick.
had to go there.
but I will say
Speaking of
You're right.
disgustingness,
the
Yes.
curtain.
Okay.
the
we need to
curtains
talk
at
about
this moment, I would have immediately chosen violence. You did not just defile the drapes in my new home.
Look, beautiful man. I get it. You're hot, but don't do that. We have
That was
washcloths,
such
sir.
a
This was sort
like
of the
that was a
confirmation.
not civilized thing.
This
to
was
do,
the confirmation that
that's-
I was like, this is going south. This is not. This
Mhm.
is not going to be a good outcome, right?
Ooh, ooh. I
yeah.
was furious. I
But
was
you know what,
livid. I'm
Shalene?
still really mad about it.
I don't know if I'm as furious about the curtain as I am about the fact that he went and washed up in the bathroom after wiping
He
himself
didn't
on the
though.
curtain.
He just went to the kitchen and got a pitcher of water.
He did?
He
Oh.
didn't go wash up.
Oh.
He wiped off on the curtain and then went to get an entire pitcher of water.
And can we just point out how brilliant, again, storytelling. This dude has done one action and we all hate it and we all get it. You know what I mean? Like, this has told us so much about this person.
And then
And-
Lucy realizes who he really is in this moment.
Her
when she-
intelligence level of whipping on the Pip Boy to pull up the Geiger
Yes.
counter.
Yes.
Okay,
Smart.
but here's a plot hole in my opinion. A major
Here
plot
we
hole.
go.
Because Lucy was not wearing her Pip-Boy because it was her wedding day, right? All her guests were wearing their Pip-Boys. Why did nobody's Geiger counter go off?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I know. Everyone brings that up.
I never
But
thought about
okay,
that.
fine.
Yeah.
Do they? Does everyone bring that up?
I've heard it a few times.
This
of
is the
people like,
first
"Why didn't it
discussion
go
I've
off?"
had about it, aside from
Yeah.
just Archon and I.
I
Yeah.
never
But
thought
if
about
her
that. It
if
never
her
occurred to
Geiger
me.
counter went off like that, they can't make this big reveal like this when everybody in the ding room was wearing a Pip-Boy.
Yeah, because a Pip-Boy Geiger counter is always
It's just on all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a good
Yeah,
point,
okay.
Shalene. Good point.
Pothole number one. Fine.
Okay, that's fine. We'll let it slide. But what I won't let slide is that this woman is practically bionic as she gets her head slammed into the table and then she's thrown across the room into a stove and then she somehow finds the strength to get up and grab a knife and start fighting, which I think is
This fight scene was so brutal and so visceral.
it was very this is where we are first exposed to what Fallout really is, right? Because
Alex in the chat says, "Do you have a Geiger counter?"
Mine's in the shop.
yeah.
Forgot about that.
She grabs this blender jug and she strikes him in the head with it and the jug breaks, which that's plot hole number 2. Okay, these blender jugs, you guys, they don't break.
I thought she smashed on the counter and then stabbed him with it.
No,
But
She hits him with it, and
Those
it breaks on
those
his...
were glass in the 50s.
Yeah, but they were
Yeah,
like
they
an
were.
inch thick of glass.
They were really
That
thick.
is a blunt
If
object,
anything,
if anything.
whacking him in the head with it would have made a nice like boom
Yeah.
sound instead of shattering. But
So-
but what really frustrated me with this scene a little bit was you see her doing like jujitsu style stuff, and in this, sure, she's blindsided and she's ambushed. Okay, fine. But she's like having a really hard time.
Well, yeah. I mean, he is a raider. He's
Mhm.
you know, that's she's only at level 1 right now.
That's
Yeah,
I get what you're
That's
saying.
a good point. Yeah. She gets
He's
stabbed.
probably level 5.
She gets stabbed, and then she's off into the bathroom, and I'm thinking to myself, is this it? Does the lead of this show die? And then I realize she's not going to the bathroom. She's going to get a stim pack.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can we be like just understand of again how much attention they paid to the game detail where they put the first aid kit next to the mirror?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And
Perfection.
we get a glimpse of that stim pack, which is
Mhm.
so good. It's so
And-
realistic.
The
And-
stim pack noise, you guys.
And the fact that she's fine after it.
Yeah,
I
she's
was
just,
so
holding
happy.
it like she's got a paper cut.
I was so happy that they just did this sort of like whack and she's moving on. And
know-
I was like, it felt so good. I know it's unrealistic, but
No,
to
no,
the
no. I know
game,
what you're talking about, because when you're in the game and you take a stim pack, you're like, everything's fine now.
All right, let's fight.
you got shot. You got shot and grenaded. Stim
Yeah,
pack, fine,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I love that the next thing she does is she goes to the armory
Mhm.
and she's looking for guns. And the raiders they've raided the armory. So the only thing she has is a syringer.
Now, a friend of mine pointed out that he's like, it's so cool that this is like,
Radica
hi,
Screamer,
Screamer.
Radica Screamer in the chat. Cut her some slack. She just got laid by someone who wasn't her cousin for the first time. I mean, you're not wrong.
That's one of my coworkers,
You're
my
not
buddy.
wrong.
My
Okay.
bud.
Welcome to chat, thanks, buddy.
So, I think Screamer might have pointed this out when because he's who I watched the show with,
Mhm.
and a few of other friends, but they pointed out that like just like when you go into a vault or a different place, like you just find like a stray bullet here and there, and that's what was
Mhm.
found in the vault or in the armory was just like,
Yeah.
you know, they. I can imagine the raiders seeing the syringer and they're like a syringer, you know, and then walk
yeah,
away.
Yeah. Not knowing that she was just going to take them down with it and it was going to be great.
She just looks so amazing kitted out in this bloody wedding dress.
Oh yeah.
Can we talk about that? Oh my gosh, a style icon. Put her on the cover of Vogue.
Thirsty.
Here she is. Yeah. She's walking up. She's got her stabbed abdomen. She's got the syringers around her neck. It's so good, right?
Now, this whole scene of carnage and combat
Dude,
reminded me
cake.
so strongly of the live action Fallout 76 trailer.
Mhm.
Yes, it did.
Mhm.
You're right. The slow-mo, the Joker-esque makeup with the cake icing as he's just thwapping off with that British submachine gun, which by the way is kind of an odd choice, I thought, for a gun in the vault. It's just weird.
I love
Get that
this.
Jello mold out of here.
I love this scene, Shalene. I love it. This speaks to the naivety of Vault Dwellers so well that he's
yes.
actually worried about the jelly molds.
More than the people.
Get that jelly mold out of here, he says.
When he should have been telling them to run.
Yeah.
Okay, so the kills here where the dude sticks the barrel of the Sten
In the back
in
of
the guy's mouth.
Yes.
I haven't seen that since Wanted.
Ooh,
Right.
It's
It
brutal.
was rough.
It is
Deep
brutal.
throat execution. And like so good though. Because if you could do that in the Fallout universe, you would totally do that in the Fallout universe.
You know, maybe
you can't do that.
Maybe you can do that in the next Fallout.
That feels like the contextual kills in games like what was that one called? Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs had the
Not sure.
contextual kills
Mm.
where you could use bits of the environment.
Yeah, Zach Cherry plays Woody Thompson in the vault.
And
here.
that's our fluffy councilman.
This is our fluffy councilman. He's an American actor. He's also an improv comedian, and he's known for his role as Dylan George on Apple TV's series Severance. So
I really want to see Severance. I think it
Mhm.
sounds amazing.
and then we get into this scene where this is just amazing. This scene here where the guy with the cake on his face gets stabbed. He's falling back. His gun starts shooting the Telesonic 3D
Mhm.
projector.
It starts melting.
It starts melting the film,
Amazing.
and the whole scene is just juxtaposed over this like burning atmosphere that
Mhm.
is the nuclear wasteland. It has come into the vault. It's
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
It's taking over. It was just so good.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, I loved it. And this scene where Steph, she gets stabbed.
She's holding Bert. Bert is deceased.
She's holding her husband. She gets
Yep.
stabbed in the eye with this fork.
They forked a pregnant lady in the eye.
They forked.
Guys.
Oh man,
They
And then-
forked a pregnant lady in the eye.
I don't
So-
even know. It's like
That
This-
was the moment when I knew this show was not holding back.
Oh yeah. And by the way, like, so she's shown later, spoilers. She's shown later in this episode with an eye patch.
yeah.
Mhm.
And immediately I was like, this girl needs to be later in a trench coat with this eye patch and be just
Mhm.
this total badass.
She
right?
is going to have
I feel like
a larger
by the
role.
end of this series, she's going to be like a hard-boiled mercenary.
Like,
Yes, yeah.
because
she's gonna go through some stuff here, right? I just
she
love
already has.
I like
Mhm.
this scene right here where she's got the fork sticking out of her
Visibly
eye.
pregnant woman,
Very
fork sticking out of
Tarantino.
her
This is
eye,
very Tarantino, by the
Oh
way.
my
firing off this.
Like it's just like so good. That's
Wow.
that's the fallout that we love, right?
Oh,
Absolutely.
100%.
The craziness.
Absolutely.
And then poor Chet, he's like trying to
Again,
stop. He's
this
trying to stop
Super
this
Boy
guy.
Scout guy.
You know,
I don't want to use violence.
we see the first
And he
use
slams some jet.
the jet. Yeah, yeah. Is that what it was? Jet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's jet.
Yeah. Jet.
He falls into the door. This guy, and he just poor Chet. He gets splattered with guts. Like
Beautiful.
it's so good. Oh,
I had no idea those pneumatic doors were so powerful.
right.
There's clearly no like elevator door device where it feels a little bit of force like, oop, open back up.
Yeah, yeah. And then the scene sort of progresses to the door at the vault where they had first
Right.
made their exchange. Moldaver is there. She's got an explosive that's armed, and the rest of the vault dwellers are there, sort of surrendered. And this is where we see an exchange between Hank and Lee Moldaver that suggests that they have some sort of prior history, right?
Yeah,
'cause
I know
Hank-
who you are.
Hank looks at her
Yes.
and he says, "I know who you are." And Lee Moldaver says, "Everybody knows who I am."
I don't. Who are you?
That's a heck of a line, by the way.
Everybody knows who I am.
Yeah. Oh, everybody knows who I am.
That's what
Um,
I tell people when we run into each other on the server in Fallout 76.
It's charisma of like 6, you know?
Can we-
7.
Can we
maybe
just
8.
can we just back up to the moment where Hank kills Lucy's
Oh,
new
right.
husband
With the shovel.
with the shovel?
Whacks him with a
which is
shovel, then
great.
drowns him.
Can you explain to me what the purpose of a barrel of cucumbers is in
They were
water?
Pickles.
bobbing
They were
for
pickles.
cucumbers?
Is it
Oh.
Pickles.
brine?
Pickles.
Is it brine? Is that what it is?
Pickles
Yeah.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. So could you imagine how much that hurt that dude? Not only is he dying, but that's
Yeah,
brine
that would be
stinging his.
stingy.
But
I was
also,
like, what is this?
he
this
did
barrel
not
of
hold
pickles?
him under long enough to kill him.
That's true. But I think, you know,
You've got to hold him under after he quits moving. You don't just stop
You've
when they
thought this
quit moving.
through.
well, yeah, like in order to like suffocate someone, it takes like what, like 3 minutes, I think, roughly, to
Yeah,
like
it was
cut off the airway.
And I guess it would be
So-
boring to just sit there and watch him drown
Could
a
you
man
imagine
for
a
3
3-minute
minutes.
cut of just him holding him.
Mhm, mhm.
And they could start playing like the Fallout Shelter lobby song. Like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Anyways, so the exchange between Hank and Lee is really interesting.
Okay, 100%. This is an unskippable cutscene.
Okay. Oh, like you want me to play it?
No, I mean, when I saw this, I thought this is an unskippable cutscene in a video game when she's talking to the dad
yeah,
through the window.
Yeah. And he's like,
Absolutely.
you are my whole world, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he puts Lucy in the closet. Moldaver tells everybody to run who is left.
Like, okay, first of all, clearly it's a boom. It's big go boom, right? So what does Lucy do? She stares with her face at a glass pane. And we were all watching this. We're like, get down. Just get down.
Yeah.
Just duck.
Like her eyes are huge. Like how has
They
she,
will catch
how has she
shrapnel.
not
Get down.
scraped it on a branch already? Like, come on.
She's not even the one that got the fork in the eye.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, so the bomb goes off. She tells them to run before the bomb goes off, which I think is kind of pointless.
Yeah, that feels like a positive karma move though, that she does.
Yeah, I think that we sort of, well, I mean, they already killed like half of the vault dwellers, so what does it matter? But and that's the end of the scene, and then we're into the middle of the show where
this guy.
we're in the Brotherhood of Steel, which I originally actually at first thought it was the dudes up at Nellis Air Force Base. What are they called? With the jackets?
The
The
boomers.
boomers. I thought
Yeah.
this was the boomers at the start, but it's the
So-
Brotherhood of Steel.
Rick immediately said that he hates Maximus. Now, I would like to say that my immediate reaction to Maximus was that he's like Finn from New Star Wars, but with somehow even less charisma.
I hate this guy so much. So much. Now, I will say there are Oxen Chat's like, I love this guy. I will say there are moments later in the series where you kind of have like oh, that kind of makes sense of why he's a complete and total idiot. But I hate this guy. Hate him. I hate him.
Why do you hate him? Is it the acting? Is it the character plot?
He okay.
I think
So
he's a good actor.
great actor. Great actor.
So
I couldn't
let's just
dislike
But he-
him this much if he was a bad actor.
for the listeners who are trying to establish who this
Oh,
is.
we're talking about
it's a
Maximus
sol-
from the
it's a
Brotherhood of
soldier,
Steel.
Yes, Maximus, soldier in
Maximus.
training from the Brotherhood of Steel. Yes.
For reasons that I'm not going to spoil, his mind, like, okay, so he has not had any sort of education about much in life. He's kind of thrust into this Brotherhood of Steel training. And so therefore his decision making is very much cause. There's no effect calculations that go into his decisions.
Mhm.
And I don't think he's a necessarily bad person. I just don't think he understands what consequences are. Not from like a lack of being punished, because he's been punished a lot already in the first 5 seconds you see this guy, but it's just understanding how what decisions you make affect other people around you.
Right.
And at first, watching the show, I was like, this dude is just a jerk and he doesn't understand anything about anyone, or he just doesn't care. But as kind of the season goes on, you're like, I kind of feel bad about him. And then he does a thing, you're like, I like this guy. And then he does a thing, you're like, I hate this guy.
Mhm.
And so it ends on, I just don't like this guy. Like,
Well,
I just don't like this guy.
Aaron
I just don't
Moten.
like him.
Aaron Moten is the actor. He's previously starred in Will Smith's drama Emancipation. He also starred as Travis in Netflix weed comedy with Kathy Bates, Disjointed. If you haven't seen
What
that.
a great name for a wheat-based comedy.
Yes.
What is
Disjoint-
it?
I've watched it. It's
Oh,
fantastic.
disjoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy, Maximus, is our Brotherhood of Steel protagonist. And I don't understand why, when Dane is right there and he's got enough charisma for any 10 people, Dane is amazing. They are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dane is,
yeah. We like Dane a lot.
We
We
stand
really
Dane in
like
this
Dane.
house.
We really liked it. I don't like the wispy stash
No, it's
on
bad.
anybody
It's
No.
bad.
at all.
No.
But I do like Dane.
Except for the unexpected character that grew in popularity, who is Johnny
Thaddeus?
Johnny Pemberton as Thaddeus.
I know.
Pemberton also starred in Bo as Superstore, and he was a voice actor on Middlemost Post. He also starred in both 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street as Delroy, and was part of In the Loop, as AJ Brown. But he's grown in popularity in this series. People love his character, and I think it's just because he's...
His character expands a little bit
Yeah.
later on,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. In this one, we hate him because he's just a piece of junk.
Yes, he's a bully.
One of the things that this show really does as time goes on is changing your opinion on a character with one line of dialogue. It's super easy to like
Mhm.
just see some reactions of a character and then they say something you're like, oh, that makes sense why they are the way they are. And you know, I think Nolan kind of nailed that direction, or whoever wrote it. I don't know, but yeah,
Mhm.
Did you
they do that a lot.
notice the shortage of women in the Brotherhood of Steel?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
there's no women.
I think I saw one in the classroom, but there were definitely no women with speaking roles in the Brotherhood.
Not yet, anyways.
I wonder if that's because as so the I don't know what his name is, I forget, but like kind of the leader of the Brotherhood of Steel at this point, this really old guy.
Yeah, whoever the elder is.
Yeah, the elder. He is very much a zealot, I would say.
He's
Very
a
traditional.
boomer,
The
but not
Brotherhood
in the
in
Fallout
general
way.
is culty, right?
But this is like this version of the Brotherhood is even more culty than normal.
Yeah, this is not the
Yeah.
Lions Brotherhood.
This isn't Lions. This isn't even like Pridwin and Boston Brotherhood.
But we get sort of a glimpse of that later in the
Wait a
series,
minute.
right?
So first of all, can we just this is canon, so this means that destroying the Pridwin in Fallout 4 is not canon.
Well, not necessarily. This could be a different airship. It could be a
Right.
rebuilt airship.
In the wasteland, after the whole world's decimated, they've got the means to build two.
I mean, there were like 4 Death Stars, so anything's possible.
Okay, touche, but still, I can't see
Touche.
how this is.
Touche.
They didn't say this wasn't the Pridwin. Also, is this the Eastern version of the BOS? Because I feel like the logos is the Eastern division,
This is Eastern BOS, yeah.
even though it's in the West.
Mhm.
Well, actually, it's true. We don't know where this takes place. We don't know.
Is it just me, or do they just look like they're wearing really fluffy slippers?
Oh, like those Yeezys?
Yes.
The really big Yeezys?
Like if you painted those red, it would look like he's wearing Mario shoes. Like all of them. I feel like they didn't quite get the shoes right. I'm not sure. Anyways, this is where we see the
Skyline
first
Twilight
Brotherhood.
says that the airship says Pridwin on it. I tried to pause and look at it, but I didn't have enough resolution. There were not enough pixels for me to tell.
No
let's see if we
pixels.
can go back here to. I don't know if it's gonna show it, but
Yeah, we're just
right here.
silence for audio folks as we try to make out what it says on the side of the airship.
It just has the Brotherhood of Steel logo in white.
There's definitely some writing on there, I think. I can't tell what it says.
The show subtly confirmed the name to be Pridwin, which hints at the same. I don't know. I still think it's a little up in the air personally, but
A little up in the air.
I didn't mean that, but I'll let it go. But yeah, like
I don't
so
know.
we don't
Whoever's
really know where
saying
this
is
base
likely
is.
full of hot air.
Ha ha ha. I got nothing else.
Okie dokie.
Crashed and burned.
Was that a
Like
Hindenburg
these-
joke?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Anyways, we see the first set of Brotherhood of Steel power armor T60.
And I thought it looked good.
It looks
So
good.
good.
It does look good. They look super badass walking through this exhaust fumes, which I'm sure was a fun scene to film. And I also love the attention to the sparks that their feet are drumming up on the tarmac.
Mhm.
I think it speaks to the power of the power armor, you know? Yeah, it's really good. Anything else you guys want to add from this scene?
Oh yeah, let's talk about the ASCII drawing of the.
Oh yeah, when they're doing yeah, I thought that was a really cool touch
Wasn't that
of where
clever?
they're doing like a Morse code version of like coloring in. Yeah,
It
that
was
was
so
great.
clever.
I thought it was super smart, honestly. And yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Mhm.
I'm having a hard time not saying things that are later in the in other episodes.
I appreciate you holding back though. I'm gonna try to get through the rest of them someday.
You damn well
Um,
should, Shalene.
I mean, I want to see them.
It's been out for 2 weeks.
Yes, and I have a life and a job and stuff.
That's irrelevant to the show.
Well, yeah, okay.
Irrelevant.
I'm doing a PhD full time and I managed to finish the series. So
Yeah, anyway.
so come on. So and then
And
we
your
also
SO
see-
lives with you, Shalene.
Yes, but also I require 14 hours of sleep a day. So
That sounds
Wow.
like you don't drink enough coffee.
That is a lot of sleep. Well, anyways,
That's too much sleep. That's unhealthy.
I mean, not always 14 hours, but occasionally 14 hours. Yeah.
So we find out that Dane has been
By
chosen.
the way, hold on a minute. Can we just talk about the dude just beaten off in his cot?
Yes. Okay. This was really like okay, man butt and steamy sex scenes,
Sound.
and then
just
suddenly
like-
hardcore masturbation in the barracks here.
Oh my gosh.
Was it? It's
That's
right
a
here.
dude
I
Who
think
did not
it's-
care anymore.
Well, and then-
Wow.
and
Brick skip ball. Yes.
brick skip ball. Can we just talk about? I have a theory here. They're throwing bricks because they've scrapped all the basketballs for rubber.
Yes.
This-
Oh,
Rubber is
that's
This
somewhere
is
in the world.
clearly
That's a
the
good thought,
reason
yeah.
why there are bricks. Here.
Playing basketball.
Mhm.
Wait, Moxie, you missed the comment. You missed
Yeah.
I
Or
don't
the-
know how you missed it. I don't know how.
Oh
yeah,
man.
we all
Ooh.
caught it.
Here. The guy is he's just
Oh no.
he's just going at it. He's just having the time of his life in front of everybody in the barracks.
Ooh, no shame. No
This
shame.
is such a weird
None.
scene. This
The first thing I thought of was like, that's going to be messy to deal with. It's gonna be
under the
messy.
covers. Now your
I
now your
know.
blanket's gonna be all gross.
Maybe he's got a sock on. I don't know. It just seems like a messy situation.
Speaking of messy situations, let's move
Okay.
right along.
Yeah.
To the...
It did make as a guy, this made me uncomfortable.
It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
It too.
Anyways, we find out Dane gets selected as a help me out here.
Squire.
Initiate.
Squire. Thank you.
Squire.
From aspirant to squire, assigned to Knight Titus,
Mhm.
who we don't say who it is because
I know.
oh, she's on episode 4. She's seen it, right?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know who Knight
does it
Titus
happen in
is?
this episode? No, it doesn't happen in this
No.
I've
episode.
seen Knight Titus. I didn't recognize Knight Titus.
He's
Okay.
from Justified.
Knight Titus
I didn't remember.
is Michael
Hmm.
Rappaport.
Yeah, he's one of the crows in one of the
Okay.
later seasons of Justified.
You know, I don't think I saw the entirety of Justified. I think I quit watching when they swapped girlfriends.
Oh, that's right. You did say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have seen Michael Rappaport.
That was like a step too far for me. That was just dumb.
And Dane wakes up the next morning with a razor in the boot, and they are now injured and they cannot go out on their mission. And everybody thinks that it's Maximus who did it.
Dane's scream was horrifying.
Can we just
I don't
talk
remember.
about how unusually large this razor blade in the boot is? Like it's like
Is it?
it's so ginormous. He looks at it here. I think it's right here. Yeah, look how big this razor blade is. That is not
That is a massive razor.
a
blade.
normal
That's
size
actually
razor
pretty
blade.
big. Yeah, now I'm thinking about it.
Right? What are they shaving with? Like, I don't know.
I'm
Anyways.
like,
Clearly
Is
not
this-
their little fuzzy mustache.
okay,
It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
but
I'm sorry.
here's the thing. Like, don't you look in your shoes before you put them on?
No.
There's a snake in my boot.
I look in my shoes, I tip them over and knock them out because you
Shalene,
never
you
know
lived
if
in a
there's going to be
desert. There were
spiders or
scorpions.
centipedes or whatever. Is yeah, and that was my next point. Archon's over here miming giganticness to me. Is this what happens when all the bugs are big? You don't worry about having a bug in your shoe?
That's true.
Yeah.
Also,
Rad Roach can't necessarily crawl into your shoe, right?
I live in a place where that doesn't normally happen.
Same.
You've never had a bug in your shoe? Ever?
No.
One
Never
time
had a
in my
bug in your
life, I had
shoe.
a giant spider in my shoe.
One time
Yeah.
I
Once.
had
Once is enough.
I-
Once
I-
is enough.
Not really.
Yeah. Whew.
I once
You
had
live in the
Yeah.
closest thing we have to Australia in the United States.
I don't live
Sunflower
around
seed.
scorpions. We don't really, I mean, scorpions do exist in New Mexico.
See?
They're not that common.
Lies.
So-
They're
No,
everywhere.
they're not.
So Maximus gets dragged up against the leader. Who's the leader then again?
I don't know.
Old
I forget his
man.
name. The old man.
Old man leader.
Yes.
And he sort of proves his worth. He thinks he's gonna get basically killed. And then he sparks something in the leader by saying, you know, the Brotherhood is my whole life. I give my life to the Brotherhood, and I just want to make the world a better place, even if it means losing my own life, kind of thing.
Can we talk about his flashback to his childhood?
Yes. Yeah.
When he remembers being in this terrible situation, popping out of the milk fridge and looking up at his rescuer, Brotherhood of Steel guy.
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
was like identical to the flashback scene from The Mandalorian, where Pedro Pascal
Yes.
is remembering
Oh, when he
being
comes out of
saved
it,
by
yeah.
the Mandalorians. And I was like, how did these two people have such a different, branching path from here? Because
Yeah.
Mando's amazing and Maximus is not.
I mean,
I'd
it's
love
a
to
similar
see-
arc, but
I'd love to see the statistics of how many people have survived in the wasteland by hiding in a fridge.
Yes.
well, we know Indiana Jones did. Anyways, then we're flashback to Vault 33, where everything is fine again, and they're putting up posters and they're painting over top of the blood, and everything is just going to be just fine, right, Shalene?
Yes. And can we talk about how that is a very lazy way to clean up your vault, to just paint straight over the blood? It's gonna flake off. Your paint's gonna flake.
How do you know this, Shalene?
No reason.
Figured I'd
What's
ask.
our next scene?
We see Lucy stapling her stomach. I do have to remark that she's in fantastic shape.
Oh yes, I thought the same thing.
She
Our girl
is.
is in good condition.
She is built and in fantastic shape. Beautiful body.
Meanwhile, I'm just getting
And then
bigger.
chaos ensues at this gathering where Lucy proposes that they send a search party out into the wasteland to search for her dad. And they're like, that's preposterous. Nobody's ever opened the main door. Like, what you just gonna open the main door?
Clearly, they have already.
Yeah. And this is where I was kind of like wondering, okay, who's going to be the next overseer? Right? Because they're going to have to go through a process, and it's probably going to be one of these three people. This is what I was thinking when I was watching this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely pull a committee move, though.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
and
feel like
then-
if she hadn't left, though, Lucy would have been a candidate for overseer just based on her connection to her father.
Perhaps, but I don't think there was any version of the story that had her staying.
Now,
No.
I don't know if you guys made this connection here, but I love this scene when Lucy, she's leaning up against the wall going, what am I going to do? She takes a step back, she looks at the wall, and she sees this poster that says, don't lose your head.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's foreshadowing, right?
Ooh.
That's foreshadowing.
Wow.
It's brilliant.
Wow.
Brilliant writing.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Absolutely brilliant.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's real good.
Anyways.
Oh man.
And then
I'm having the
she's
best time right now, you guys. I just want to say. This
she
is like
devises
the
she
best.
convinces Chet, who, you know, he knows She knows
Not that hard to convince.
he swoons over her, so she can probably twist his rubber arm to get him to open the gate to let her out of the vault, right? She's gonna go on and she's gonna do this by herself. And this was a good scene. I love that she drugged him.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
Yes.
sorry, just gonna drug
I
you.
I low-key wanted her to take Chet with her.
Chet
No,
would
he would
be-
not have
I like
survived a
Chet.
second out in the wasteland.
Chet is such a comic relief, I think.
I really like Chet. Big
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah. And she goes to leave the vault. Some of the other dwellers make it up because her brother is so careless with the elevator. And I love that they're standing there and they're just like, Lucy McLean, you get back here right now. And she steps out of the vault and they're like, well, I guess that
didn't work.
Yeah. They're so naive, man.
Like, I guess democracy
my
didn't
goodness.
help us there. Like, I'm confused. What do we do now? You know, like, oh, so good. And this animation of the vault, right?
Yeah.
You see it.
The bright
opening
light.
up, the brightness.
That scene that is the linchpin of Fallout for us. That
Except New Vegas.
experience.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
But 3 and Fallout 4.
Mhm.
Bethesda Fallouts.
Yeah. She gets outside of the vault. She takes her first steps. She looks around. And this shot right here of the Santa Monica Pier and the coast of California is just the chef's kiss. I'm like, this is where our next Fallout is. It's in
Nailed
California. It's so good. She's so excited. And she's like, okie dokie. And she just walks off into the...
I don't know if I would use excited.
Well, she's scared.
There's
She's
probably
scared,
a bit of
right?
excitement in there because it's new, right?
Yeah.
But
It's good.
yeah, that face does not say excited.
It's a good scene. It's a good
That
scene.
face says a bit of
Okay.
terrifying.
I can do this.
You know.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, stepping
like-
out into this
Sure.
this area, this vast expanse, the space bigger than her whole life, right? That she's
True.
never experienced before.
Yeah, as Chet said, it's big out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because every good vault dweller protagonist has this bit of naivety, but also mixed with a bit of always wanting to go outside of the vault.
Mhm.
And that being what they truly needed in life.
Mhm.
And Lucy adapts so well.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's this naiveness that takes her to it, where it's just like, this is just how it is and we do it.
Yeah.
But as the series goes on, there's just some things that she does. You're like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
She did that without little thought,
Yeah.
or just realized, or maybe she just realized this is what I have to do, so therefore I must do it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of leading to leaving the vault, was like, I need to find my father. In order to find my father, I need to leave this vault. So therefore, that is just what I do. There's not a lot of him and hawing around. It's just, I leave the vault. And she did.
Yeah.
So maybe that it's just interesting to see that in a lot of the Vault Dweller and just protagonists of the Fallout series.
Yeah. Then we flash back to the Brotherhood, where we see Max again going up against the leader of the Brotherhood, and he sort of convinces him to not kill him, but also somehow manages to become Knight Titus's squire, which
Mhm.
is like, he's like, okay. He goes and apologizes to Dane. They're both kind of like, well, I didn't do it. Did you do it? I didn't do it. Who did it? And they
Now, this scene where like Dane's so sure it's one of those bullies, the people that beat the crap out of them, and Dane tells Maximus, yeah, the elder came and asked me, if you did it, and I said you wouldn't hurt a fly. And something about the way Dane said that compared with the look on Maximus's face made me think, wouldn't he? And I just remembered the toilet seat rage scene when Dane was promoted,
Yeah.
which we, toilet seats become a theme, and for this character, and I just it made me wonder, did he do it? Did he?
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Then he is scribed, I guess I should say, by his knight.
Ah,
Um,
The
this
anointing looked
was
like a
the
bad
anointing.
time.
Yeah.
this was one of the things that was very much in contrast to the Fallout games. The
Mhm.
Brotherhood of Steel, as far as 3, 4, and New Vegas are concerned, and even 76, they're not this regimented and culty. Now, I haven't played Fallout 1 or 2 or even the Fallout Brotherhood of Steel tactical game to know enough if maybe they got into more cult-like antics in those games. But I thought this was a really interesting divergence to what the Brotherhood of Steel would probably be like in this world.
Mhm.
Like this, even though the show kind of comes after, this feels more real to what the Brotherhood of Steel would be like
I agree with
than the
that. Yeah, I
Fallout
do.
games do.
Yep.
So,
I
and it's also more, it makes it more terrifying. It
It
really does. It
absolutely
makes the Brotherhood of
does.
Steel more scary.
He's
One thing that I wanted to point out, and this is not my thought, this came from Archon, but the oaths that they were giving him during the anointing were an if-then loop. Computer programming if-then loop.
say that again.
I didn't realize that.
An if-then loop?
Yeah. What about it? What about it?
Yeah, like your highest duty is to, your knight, and then if then
Oh.
like if
Yeah.
then your next duty is.
Yeah. Sure.
It
Yeah.
was just like an if-then loop from computer programming.
I love this scene where he
Interesting.
gets handed he finds out who the people are. So
Mhm.
we get the completed image of the coded message, which reveals the target. And then we see the next
Pupper!
person on the list. Dogs are people too. His companion, presumably a dog meat.
Doge.
So excited about this. Yeah, dog meat's great.
That was nice to see.
And then the other thing I want to ask you guys is I don't know if this was a thing.
The
in
golf bag.
The giant bag. Can somebody
The
explain
bag feels
the
so
giant...
unfair.
What is
To
this
me, this-
bag about?
This to me feels like a Lydia thing. Like I'm sworn to carry your
Carry your
burdens,
burdens.
and you're just like, here's all my things.
Like I guess it's definitely metaphorical, right? But
It just feels like that.
Was that in any of the original, like, was that part of...
I don't remember ever
I-
seeing that.
I don't ever remember seeing it, but to me, it just felt like a play on the fact that any companion you have, you just dump
load
them with
everything on
As a
them.
donkey, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was also happy to see that the assault rifle was more of an LMG in this than like an
Mhm.
assault rifle in Fallout 4.
I think it's
So-
actually, there's a bit of irony here too, because when you're in power armor, you can carry more. Right?
Yes, I
So-
thought the same thing, but they're making
true.
this dude carry everything. So in the chat, they're talking about how this is a shot at how we play the games, perpetually over encumbered. I'm looking at Maximus with the thing on his back. Doesn't he look a little bit like the what's that perk called? The strong back perk.
Strong
He looks
back.
a little bit like the strong back
Oh,
perk.
yeah.
Or the pack rat,
yeah.
the pack rat
Mhm.
perk. Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Oh no.
I'm glad we talked about the bag now because I have a different perspective on it. And then we see
Yeah,
we see some vertibirds, which is kind of cool. These look
Beautiful.
kind of neat, hey? They look so
I
real.
love that you could ride in those and shoot out of them in Fallout 4, but it
Mhm.
was so useless.
Mhm.
It was pretty
So
bad.
Useless.
Yeah.
I used to try to change landing zones to like circle an area just
Yeah.
to try to kill
Yes.
people with that Gatling gun on the side.
Then it switches to this weird scene where we're at like some sort of fort, right? On
It's
the sea.
suddenly we're watching Red Dead Redemption, the movie, right?
It's wild. There's cowboys. We've switched over to cowboys. I don't even know what I'm watching. I'm like, is
When
the
I
show
saw
over?
Bro
Did
in
I
his
change
poncho-
it by accident? Like
100%. I felt like this was Red Dead Redemption.
Did you
this-
imagine how good Red Dead Redemption show?
Oh man.
So good.
It would be so good.
But yeah.
Yeah. So then we're greeted with three gentlemen who are searching for somebody.
Mhm.
And I want to get to the scene where we
Moxie
see...
in chat shouts, "The junk jet!" I was so happy.
Yeah.
But
Right.
unlike the game, the junk jet actually killed someone.
So right here, okay, we see this bag. It's presumably Radaway or Radix, maybe? Radaway.
You know,
I thought it was glowing blood.
they
Oh, is
put
that
out a
what it
little bit
is?
more ghoul lore in this show than they kind of have in the games. Which turns into some really heartbreaking moments in the series. I don't know if you've gotten
Yes.
to, Shalene. But whatever the stuff the ghoul is after, that is what is in the bag.
Yes.
There's
yes, we make
tie-ins in
that
future
connection.
series.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's tie-ins, but I don't know exactly what it is.
It looks very much like glowing blood, the item in Fallout 76.
I didn't think about
It looks
that, though.
identical to that.
Yeah. We see...
So I would argue that it is not the same thing as what he's seeking.
Now these guys they've resurrected this casket, right? We don't know... They don't know if the guy's feral or not. They brought a chicken just to be sure. Can you explain to me the purpose of the chicken? Is there lore behind the chicken?
No, they're just dumb.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, do you know who the actor on screen is right there?
No.
Let's see. You got fried shrimp, boiled shrimp.
Oh
No.
Yep. That's who it is.
It's Bubba.
That's Bubba.
That's brilliant.
Bubba.
I never thought.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
It's brilliant.
Who,
Yeah.
by the way, Shalene, is also in Justified. Just throwing it out there. Yeah.
I need to rewatch Justified, but I'm never gonna. Like, it's not gonna.
Is Justified in the Fallout universe?
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Just kidding.
And this is
Oh.
where we get the first glimpse of
If they bring in Timothy Oliphant,
the new version
I would
of
die.
Coop Howard.
Yeah.
And this makeup is so dang good, you guys.
How is this man so attractive with no skin on? Can you tell me that? Can somebody explain?
I don't know, but he is just one of the most charismatic actors in the world.
I do want to comment though, if he's such an awesome bounty hunter guy, how did Don Pedro get him? How did Don Pedro get him in the hole?
Syringer?
You know, it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that comes into the future. I don't know.
Yeah, I
mean,
think we're going to find out more.
We could
about
have a
this.
whole spin-off on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ghoul, and I'd be a happy dude.
Yeah.
Just watching this dude kill his way through the
He's
wasteland.
So good. He's so good.
So they offer Coop a bounty job referring to his former life in California as a way for them to sort of get the treasure or whatever it is they're after. And he's offended that the men actually know about his past. He's also offended that they're not committed to the job, telling them that their heart's not truly in it. And then
I felt like they sealed their death warrants when they knew something about his past.
Yes.
That and the chicken, I think, was a bit of an insult.
And the chicken was an insult. Yes. And then they threaten to bury him again. And he just unloads and just blasts them to smithereens in seconds flat with his gun, which is glorious.
Somebody's got the bloody mess perk on.
Goggins.
Yeah.
Or the ghoul. Yeah.
And I just, it's so good. So good.
Yeah. And
Goggins is not to be messed with in any universe. Not in any fictional universe.
Not even Sons of Anarchy.
Is this
That's right. He was in Sons of Anarchy.
With big old boobies.
He had enormous boobs.
I gotta turn
Sons of Anarchy.
So what he says something here. The game is rigged, or I'm in it for the game or something.
Love of the game.
I'm in it for the love of the game.
I'm in it for the love of the game.
Yeah. And that quote was really nice because that's a lot of the reason why we're watching the show.
The love of the game.
So there's parallelism there, right? Yeah, I thought that was
that's a good pickup.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that's it. That's the end of the episode.
So before we step entirely away, watching this particular scene with Walton Goggins and how beautifully Fallout it was, is Fallout at its core a Western?
Well, this is why people love New Vegas so much.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
Fallout a Western?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
You think so?
Oh,
I
yeah.
just, there are so many parallels.
Yeah. It's a
Okay,
wasteland.
I feel like,
The
okay, so
wild
am I the
wasteland,
only
you know?
one who never thought about this before? Because you're like, yes, obviously.
No,
Plainly.
I don't think I ever put like that together, really. But there is definitely aspects of, I mean, you have settlements, you have Brahmin
Mhm.
caravans. I mean, like, even though it's not right
And,
there,
like,
it's definitely
Each
water is
town has a
important.
sheriff,
Yep.
and they're little sharecroppers growing what little
Mhm.
crops they can eke out of the earth.
And
And
the first person you meet outside of the vault in Fallout
Mhm.
3 for the most part is the sheriff of Megaton.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, he's
Yeah.
wearing a cowboy hat with a duster. I mean, it's absolutely a Western. I also agree that I don't think I really made that parallel till now,
Yeah.
but it fits so well.
Yes.
I did really want the next scene to be Goggins eating the chicken, but
I wanted him to take the
No.
chicken with him.
That's
Um,
true,
I
too.
wa-
I wanted him to cook and eat the chicken.
That would have been a
No.
good, like him just sitting there with a fire
Like-
by himself
Like
with these dead
episode
bodies
2
around.
would open with like he tears the meat off the chicken leg and
That would be pretty good. Yeah.
I actually am going to go watch an episode of Fallout tonight
Yeah.
after the show. 'cause
Well, if it's
I need to
any
watch the
episode,
second one.
watch the second one. Yeah.
I need to watch the second one.
So I think we
And-
covered thoughts and favorite quotes and Easter
we
eggs.
did,
Is
but
there-
one final thing.
Yes.
One more
One
thing.
final thing.
Yes, one more thing. The outro of the show, the outro and ending credits was just so much like reminiscent of so many Fallout trailers that we've had, where you start at the close up and then zoom out to show the big apocalypse. You know, because it started on the guy's hat, and you don't even realize the guy is a skeleton. An environmental storytelling skeleton until you start
Oh,
backing up
yes.
and
Yeah.
seeing. And it reminded me of the same type of cinematography that they use, like in the Fallout 3 trailer with the hula girl, and it backs up and you see what's
Well, he's
really
starting the
happening.
tube radio. Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
Mhm.
right here. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
It's good.
And I love that connection back to the aesthetic of the games. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Shalene, do you still want to do your lore segments?
We're 2 hours in.
Oh
I would
my
like to still
gosh.
do them, but we're 2 hours in.
We are 2
So
hours
if
in.
you guys want to not, I understand. But I did work very hard.
I mean, I think you can probably punch these out in 5 to 10 minutes.
I can.
Okay, let me roll the lore segment bumper. Take it away, Shalene.
Okay, the lore for this episode is the stim pack, as we see Lucy use after her battle with her husband, the domestic violence situation of Monty. Short for stimulation delivery package, a stim pack boosts the body's own regenerative properties. Stim packs appear in all of the Fallout games, including the board game, as well as, of course, that other Fallout show. And the stim pack is a pre-war product. These massive syringes contain healing agents and stimulants that produce an almost instant healing factor. The syringe has a gauge so that you can see the meds inside, and it can be used intravenously or intramuscularly. In pre-war times, stim packs were administered by autodocs in conjunction with medics for post-surgical recovery. Fallout 2's John Cassidy, a Vault City resident and possible companion, has dialogue expressing how grateful he is that so many were produced before the war, so that they are still abundantly available. Stim packs can be used to treat ailments such as a heart condition, but only temporarily. They were designed for use on moderate to severe wounds, and the stim will not prevent scarring, as it simply boosts one's natural regenerative properties. New stim packs can be created by a knowledgeable chemist. And there are several variants of the stim pack. We've got stim pack, the standard auto-injector, the super stim pack, an advanced version that contains stronger healing drugs. There is a tributary ampule in addition to the traditional syringe, and a leather strap secures the contraption onto the injection area. There is the auto-inject super stim pack, which is a modified version that also monitors your vital signs and administers automatically when your hit points are low. The Stimpack diffuser is a healing gas that releases into the air, healing all nearby persons. Curie's Health Pack from Fallout 4 was developed by Curie using a mute fruit strain 17. It produces a unique sugar compound that stimulates platelet production in the body. Didn't know you could do that with a mute fruit.
Wow.
No idea either.
Expired Stimpack is a less effective stim due to having been stored improperly. These were featured in Nuclear Winter. The Health Dispenser is health stations that are found in Operation Anchorage. And the Ultra Stimpack is non-canon. It was part of Tactics. This is an advanced version of the Super Stim. Due to its power, it will cause damage to a person over time. And
What?
that, yeah, after time, it will cause damage. Yeah, it'll heal you instantly, but later there's consequences.
Weird.
And that's the lore.
Oh, you're not going to do the weapon of the week?
Well, yeah, that's a separate thing. So it's a whole separate segment.
Oh, I don't have a bumper for that.
Okay. Perfect. Excellent.
What about the gameplay bumper? You know,
we have the gameplay bumper. Do you have that? Yeah, put it in. The weapon of the week is the syringer.
I have a bumper for it, but yeah. Sorry, continue. Sorry,
of course, we are talking about the syringer because Lucy is using a modified version of the syringer. Hers looks a bit like a laser weapon.
Silver.
Oh,
yeah, but a laser weapon.
A what?
A laser rifle.
Thank you.
Took me a minute to get there. But it does fire syringes, so it is a variant of the syringer. The syringer appears in Fallout 4 and in 76. It is a rare custom-made weapon that can shoot modified medical syringes at an enemy, who then suffers the effects of whatever chemical is in the syringe. Technically, this is classified as a pipe weapon. It uses air pressure to fire the syringes. There are numerous weapon mods available in the games, and there are a large number of different ammo types that can be made, including Berserk, Bleed Out, Bloatfly Larva, which is one of the more horrifying ones, in my opinion. in Dangerall, Lockjoint, Mind Cloud, Hacks, Rad Scorpion Venom, Karma, and Yellow Belly.
Karma. That's good.
The Karma one is funny because it makes the target more powerful and then immediately less powerful. So
really,
I wonder if it's actually secretly just a placebo.
It might be. Ingredients for crafting these ammo types include things like antifreeze, alcohol, fiberglass, asbestos, and also a Braxo cleaner.
Nice.
And that is our weapon of the week, the syringer.
Brilliant.
I felt like Lucy's use of it sort of hints at the possibility of pacifist playthroughs.
Shalene, do we have any comments from the community about the first episode that we want to talk about?
Nothing specific. Well, I think we did have an email, actually. Do you guys want to read the email?
I think RTZ had posted something.
Yeah,
in
there
the
was a mail
stack.
from RTZ.
He says another extra question. Oh, wait, hold on. Ho, I got a pre-show survey for you. Following the success of Fallout TV show, which game did you jump back into? For me, it was Fallout 76.
4
for Rick?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was still playing 76. I hadn't quit. So for me, the one I jumped back into would be Shelter because of the new stuff.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did get back into 76, and the first time I started it, it immediately crashed. I was like, come on.
Well, we will save the next envelope of mail that we have in the mailbox for the next episode, since we are running a little bit short on time this evening. But we do encourage you to post your questions or any comments about episode 2 so we can talk about them on the next episode of TFS. And you can do that in our Discord in the Mail Stack channel. You can also send us info at We Just Love Games. You can send us an email there, or you can post it on socials as well at That Fallout Show. Don't forget, the show is sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you head on over to oakandcrow.com, you can pick up a bag of We Just Love Coffee blend. $2 from every purchase of that blend goes to the Children's Miracle Network. You can shout us out on Twitter at That Fallout Show, Shalene at Shalene, myself at Vendertron N, and we also have our network Twitter at We Just Love Games. Don't forget, May 10th, is the next episode of TFS. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/That Fallout Show, facebook.com/group/That Fallout Show, and the same for We Just Love Games. And we record the show bi-weekly, I guess I should say, at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. Please do, in the interim, check out our other sister podcast, the mother podcast, actually, Game Stack. Thank you all for listening, and Shalene, what is your last word?
Is it your thumb or mine?